What is up, everybody, and welcome back to the round table. We are doing it live today. I'm so excited. Today, the technique is dance depth. We have our usual 12 presenters, and then in addition to that, we have a special guest. This guy is the most appearances on the round table of anybody, and that's just a testament to what we think of him and what he has to offer, the excellent Mr. Mohamad Tabatabai. So like I said, today, the technique is dance of death. And we're going to go right away and throw it out to Kennett Square, Pennsylvania, and my good friend, Mr. Mark Lawler.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the KENPO Roundtable, live once again. Great to see everybody back, myself and Gail. Live from my back deck in Kennett Square, Pennsylvania. I have to tell you guys, we have what's called the Mushroom Festival going on in this town today. We are the mushroom capital of the world. And normally we be at my school, but my school's on the main drag and there's thousands of people going up and down and there's hundreds of people around my house here. So we just decided just to do this on the back deck. So it is what it is. Hey, Dan's on a balcony in Ocean City, Maryland. So there you go. All right. So today's technique is Dance of Death. Interestingly, the name, as you guys know, has to do with the extension, the stomping that you do with the guy on the ground, which we're going to get back to in a minute. Technique is, on paper for a step through right punch. And, the debate always is who's going to throw a step through right punch on the street. You could say it's for a push, but, the technique also works for just like a shuffle cross with a little bit of adaptation. The one thing I'm going to recommend to put in there in the beginning, and I'm going to address what I perceive to be a couple mistakes with the technique we're going to talk about. So firstly, on the initial block, which is usually a thrusting inward block, unless you already have your arm cocked, that's your point of origin. If it is not, obviously we're going to do the thrusting style inward block, meaning as I throw my block, I'm ricocheting off. And, if this is a boxing paradigm, I'm punching. Self-defense, I'm going for the eyeball, or I can hook into the neck here. Okay, I suggest whatever version of the technique you do, that is always a good thing to include, not just for the effect on the opponent in their face, but you're going to make them light on that front leg. And since we're going to go in and try to pick off that front leg, having them rock backwards is a valuable tool to be able to, get the leg picked up. So let's look first for the shuffle cross. With a little bit of adaptation here, I can move right in and still do this takedown. Not too much of a big deal if you're concerned about the step through. One thing you guys that are school owners probably all see a lot, or not just school owners, but people do this technique, is this. Person steps and they go way to the outside of the leg. And I deal with this all the time because you're stepping in, you don't want to get punched. And people end up trying to run around to the front of the leg. Okay? And, what we should be doing really is if we're behind the person, we should be staying behind the person, right? If we're there already, instead of running behind. So a couple things that can be done there to remedy that. Slide back a little, Gail. Obviously, you can jump to the back, do leaping crane, do back break, or any of that type of thing. But since we're doing dance of death with a leg pick here, okay, from this position here, I can come down and I can do brushing the storm. Put the leg up here. Okay, so from here, rather than coming to the inside, you're already to the outside. Pick the leg and swing back that way, and then, whatever turns you on after that is fine. The second one is a little bit more of a jiu-jitsu-esque movement where the person will, and this is another thing that happens a lot, punch comes in, person comes in, they end up with the leg in between theirs, okay, and they pick up the leg and they're hitting themselves in the crotch. Now, obviously, you don't want that, but it's not the end of the world. You can hug that leg and pick it, okay, and I can swing and take a knee and whip her under her back. You could actually swing either way and do that. You know, the issue then is, you know, now you're on the ground. But the fact that the leg is between your legs really isn't that big of a deal. Okay, if you squeeze and control the leg, and then I use that as a takedown. Most of the time this happens because, if you reset, Gail, people will step in and they'll go, oh, God, I'm going to get hit. And they go to the outside because they lead with their face. Remember, when you step in, you accelerate the attack. So if you're going to step in, you got to be slipping or you got to be moving that block first, needed to beat it. Okay, last thing I want to talk about is, you know, the extension, the dance of death. Now, I'm not going to do this because this is my deck, and I'm not going to have my wife laying on the dirty deck while I do a bunch of ground sets on her, okay? But what I did want to talk about is extensions. You know, they get a bad rap a lot of times, maybe justifiably so with some of them. But they also offer a lot of great information that's not included in the base. And some of that information is how to hit somebody when they're on the ground. Now, dance of death, tripping arrow extension, repeating mace extension. You take tripping arrow extension, you've got these knee drops, okay? Repeating mace, you're kicking the legs, coming in and stomping. Those are devastating ways to get hit. In fact, some of you probably know that fatalities on the street happen a lot of times when somebody's on the ground and, you know, they got nowhere to go and the bad guy's stomping on them. Okay, that's a terrible, terrible way to receive a blow, whether it's to the body, to the head. So as we look at these extensions and the different ground sets that are in there, there's a lot to be offered there because, you know, following up on the ground obviously is important. Okay, unless we're going to go into submission kind of a objective. So anyway, I'm probably already over time. Last thing I want to say is welcome to Mohamad. Great to see you here again, my friend. And looking forward to seeing you guys all at Dartmouth in a few weeks. Dan Donfro, thank you for hosting that. And I'm going to sign off there. And I hope to set the stage. I know I didn't really do a lot. Set the stage for the rest of you guys. Okay, over and out from Kennett Square. Happy Mushroom Festival. Yeah.
Thank you very much to the Lawlers. Excellent job. Excellent job, man. Gail, I got to hand it to you. She took a shot. Mark, you palm-heeled her down. One of my buddies in the house goes, ooh, what happened? I said, man, he caught her good. Excellent stuff from the Mushroom
Sound effects. You can't really hear.
Now, as I sit here on the bay in Ocean City, Maryland, I can see the Atlantic Ocean right there. And somewhere thousands and thousands of miles that way is our good friend from Barcelona. I'm going to send it over to Mr. Lorenzo.
Hello, everybody. Nice to be in the party we start, no, and with the dance of death. Okay, I want to explain a couple of things. I am in this way. I'm not with the gi because I need to put a highlight that is necessary to training with the jean, with the t-shirt, not only with the gi. Okay, with the kimono. And you can know the limitation that you have when you are working. This is one thing. For that I am in this way. The another thing that we need to think. This technique is a step forward with a punch, or maybe only the punch with the suffer. Okay, so we need to be the state of the what if situation. Okay, this is a very nice technique to study the what if. Okay, I prefer when we are teaching the technique to put the more easy way to the student. So it's for that I do the technique with the right left behind. Okay, not in front. Another thing that we need to think. I know what four way to do this technique. Okay. I do the technique when he punch me, I block, I hit. Remember, block, and turn forward bow. Okay, this is the technique, the form where we are working now. Okay, it's very important when we are doing the forward bow, the feet to show to 12 o'clock. Check, because a lot of time we do this. If we not do the correct position, we don't have the correct position with the hip, we don't have the correct position of the shoulder. So we can lose the balance, okay? We are doing a lot of time this and we lose the balance. It's for that is you block and you hit, okay? Some people, I try to explain the 4-way. Iker, por favor. I want to take this guy, okay? Lanza puño derecho, avanzando. 4 ways. When you block, you hit, one step, you do the switch, you bucker, you grab, you go down. This is the first that I know. The second one, you hit and you go directly. This is the second one. The third move, you hit, you go, and you turn. Okay, this is the other one. And the last one that I know, you hit, you go, when you go forward, you hit the knee, and you leverage, you throw the guy. Okay, I know 4 ways to do this thing. You can choose. I prefer to do this. And check. This is another error that we have. When we hit in the groin, all people rest here, stay here. This is not the correct reaction. You can try. If I do this, he are doing in this way. He go back. He don't stay in this way, okay? We need to check the reaction when we hit, okay? So I block, I hit in this way, and I go. And in this way, it's very, I think that's very interesting to state at the end, to listen the solution of Mohamad Tabatabai, because it's very important with the Brazilian. I think it's a good idea to have at the finish of the session to know how Mr. Mohamad Tabatabai do this move. Okay. Another thing that we need to analyze. Gracias. Another thing that we need to analyze. When I go forward, remember this move in the form elbow and elbow. Okay. Elbow and elbow. I go outside and down. Okay, it's the same move where we are doing now, outside and down. So this is for the people that he like the complete category. Okay, elbow. Now I am doing this. Elbow. Now I am doing this. Okay, this is the same move. This is no different, but the different targets: short arm, more longer arm, okay? But this is the same move, the way that we are doing. Another thing, when we are doing down, I put, is very important, your hand is with the move. I cannot do this. No, each move, you need to put the power. You need to put all my back and mass in each move. So if I am doing this, I need to do this. I need to do this. Then I go to do this, and I need to do this. Okay, and then I hit the hair. It's very important to analyze the balance of the body in this technique. It's for that this technique is in the long 5. And for the people that want to study, we need to think why this technique is the second one in long 5. Okay. All the thing has a reason, okay? So thinking about that, okay? And remember, this is the technique for the people that he like the complete category. You can hit low, in the middle, or in the high. And I think that this is something that he knows everybody, okay? And this is my idea, done. Back to you, and I finish here, okay? Thank you so much for your time. I will continue to the party. Back to you, sir.
All right. Thank you so much, Lorenzo, all the way from Barcelona. It's funny. I was thinking about it. I was wondering how's he tied together with the forms? Because if you guys pay attention to the roundtable, you know I love Lorenzo's tie-ins to the forms. And I'm thinking he's not just going to go form 5. That's too easy. And what did he do? He gave us some thought-provoking things in terms of dance of death. Excellent job as always, my friend. All right, it's
Thank you so much.
Right now I'm in the Donfro position because I'm improvising down the shore. It turns out I ended up in Ocean City, Maryland the weekend that we had the round table, but because Kempo is a lovely thing, the reason why I'm here is I'm hanging out with the very first person I ever promoted to black belt in my lineage. This is like the Captain Kirk of the Dan Meck lineage. His name is Ken McFadden. He's here as well as another one of my students and a friend of ours. So Kempo provides us a lot of wonderful, wonderful things. Anyway, I'm going to have Kenny demonstrate some of the things that we're going to talk about with Dance of Death today. So for starters, start it off, Kenny, and then you're going to start it. Something that Mark was talking about, you know, we practice our techniques like this, and I won't take the story away. If Angelo wants to share why we practice our techniques from hands down, that's the point, or that's something that he can talk about. But in reality, this is what we do. You know, I mean, this is why I'm Trejo lineage. You know how many hours this guy and I spent punching each other in the face? Trejo knew him as Kenny the wrestler, you know, and, you know, we always train like this. So this is in reality where we're going to be when this dude shoots the punch. Now, this could be, you know, you could very well be attacked by a guy who's practicing Shotokan in 1954, who's going to attack you like this. But in reality, dude's probably just going to shoot a straight right, even if the right foot's back, or if he's shooting like a southpaw jab, it doesn't matter. But from here, I'm going to start with my hands up in position. So for the drill, what I'm going to have Kenny do here is, Kenny, you're going to start, hold your hands up just like you're fighting. You're going to start feet together. And then when I say go, I want you to step forward, and I want you to do that inward block with the throw. Ready, set, go, Kenny. Boom, right there. Okay, and bring it back again, and do that again. Go. Boom, right there. Now, here's the deal. He's on the outside of the punch, so he's throwing a thrusting, not a hammering inward block, because that diagonal is what's going to help cut off the punch, okay? When I go to punch Kenny here, Kenny, stand right here, okay? And he's going to intercept that punch. The idea is it's going to travel from his shoulder into the direction of my shoulder, so his left to my left, while intercepting the punch in the middle, okay? And you see how it rode up there? That's so important. And that's, I got to be honest with you, that's the most important thing that I think about with Dance of Death is pulling off that inward block. Once you pull off that inward block, everything else is money, baby. If his hands are down low, you go to sleeper. If hands are up high, you go to Dance of Death. All right. But anyway, we're talking about Dance of Death right now. So let's talk about how making this work. Now, the one thing we want to talk about is creating that angle of deflection. So when he shoots that inward block, he's going to send my arm off. Now, we want to have a little power with that, and that's where the backhand comes into play. So if you watch Kenny, stand right here again and just start with your hands up. Now, if you notice, he's going to do this inward block with his other hand. He's going to throw backwards at the same time. So go ahead and do that, Kenny. So his load for his ridge hand is working in conjunction with the inward block to give the inward block more power. One more time. Do that, Kenny. Go for it. Blammo. Good. And bring it back and try it again. Go for it. Go. Blammo. Okay, good. Bring it back. All right. So we're doing this live. And guess what I just discovered is that this deck is really hot and I have bare feet. So if I'm tapping, that's why I'm tapping. So anyway, the concept here, Kenny, just get in a horse stance and hold your left hand out in punching position. You're a white belt in your training. And what do? You learn how to punch. Ready? Kenny, single punch. Ready? Punch. 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 You see that? You learn that. What do? You send this one out. You bring this one back. Because bringing this one back gives you power for this one going out. Same idea when you do this inward block. If you start feet together, all right, and you step forward and you throw that hand down as you shoot that inward block, there's a little drill you can practice. So start this again, feet together, Kenny. So all I want you to do is chamber your left arm on your hip. Chamber your right arm on your hip. Okay, and then step forward as fast as you can. Do that inward block. Go. Boom. Good. And bring it back. Then step forward again. Go. Boom. And bring it back. One more time. Step forward and go. Boom. Good. Bring it back. Now, after you do that, practice it with the hands. So start in a natural fighting position and then go and throw that back. Boom. And bring it back. And try it again. Go. Boom. And bring it back. And one more time. Try it again. Go. Boom. And bring it back. Okay. Very good. Thank you very much, Kenny. So now that's the idea there. All right. This gives me the power to help create that angle of deflection. And when you practice this, practice with one arm here and swinging, and then practice with the other arm swinging back, and you will feel a difference. You will absolutely feel a difference, okay? And then the rest of the technique is gravy. Mark was talking about picking it up and coming in through the leg. One of the things that I like to do with this, Kenny, stand right here, and you're going to give me the right punch. So I'm going to shoot this and hit, and now I can shoot this check up if I want. When I pick this leg up, I like to cut the line. My back foot is at 6. I like to cut it over to 10:30. So I go block, bridge. And what happens when I cut it to 10:30 is this leg creates a check for that leg. That's the idea. And then bam, bam, pick it up, step through and throw, and that checks it off. Now I don't want to throw them in the bay. Kind of like Mark and Gail were on the deck. I don't want to throw them into the bay, but that works out great. And that's, so I don't know if you guys have ever had a double leg takedown before. I remember one time I was sparring Steve Marcelli, this guy Steve, a buddy of ours, another black belt from back in the day. And I'm pounding this guy, bang, bang, bang. And he just grabs me with a double legger. And next thing I know, whoa, 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 blammo, down I went. It was no fun and I was helpless. When you do this takedown here, it's the equivalent of a double legger. It's a single legger, but this leg stepping through will act as the extra throw as you go. And then the rest of Dance of Death, the rest of you guys will go. So anyway, okay, always great training with you, brother. Thank you guys very much. All right, I started off in the Don Fro. I'm going to end up in the Miller position. So here we go. Now that I'm done, we're going to send it out to Bradford, Pennsylvania, to my man, the scribe, Mr. Michael Miller.
Rock and roll. All right. Dance of Death. I'm not going to do the extension. I'm just going to stick with the base, the way I teach the base. Everybody so far has already, come up with a lot of good stuff. So I'm just going to run through this real quick, slowly. I prefer to step back. I know the technique is written to step forward with that block. I prefer to step back, although just like any technique in the system where you step forward, you could step back, or where you step back, you could step forward, okay? It's just my philosophy is when I'm teaching this technique, the person's a yellow belt working on orange, so I prefer to teach them to kind of stay back and kind of read the situation and go from there, okay? By the way, this is the start of the hanging techniques, we call them, which means your arm is down. So when you do that block, whether you step forward or whether you step back, this hand is down. So that starts the hanging techniques. That's basically just what we say because our arm is down. One is low. That would be this one. Obviously, Thundering Hammers is mid. Sleeper is high. Now, with that said, I'm going to step back and I do my block. And then we want to have this check. We hit him in the groin, of course. We go forward. We're going to elbow him down. And I'll talk about this in a second. You can see this move here. We go to the back knuckle, we load, and then we drop, okay? Now, again, I'm just doing base technique. Now, what I want to highlight is using that fulcrum as a takedown. I know that the way most people teach this technique is the elbow goes to the ribs. I take the elbow to the hip, driving it downward, because when you lift the leg and you drive the elbow on the hip, that's what helps to take the person down. So you're using it as a fulcrum. So when I do the block and the strike, I'm driving this elbow on a downward diagonal into their hip as I lift their leg so that it helps me to take them down. Okay. I know Lorenzo mentioned the other side, basically the other side, which would be crossing talon. You've got this where we do the figure eight here, crossing talon. We do the figure eight here, right? He already mentioned that. But the idea is, if you look at crossing talon, you're doing the arm, you're using the fulcrum on the arm, and here you're using the fulcrum on the leg. Okay, so which is really important. And that's why I like to do that. Now let's keep in mind, size will matter in this case. All right. If you're a bigger dude and some small pipsqueak attacks you, no problem. You can hit him in that rib, no problem. You don't need to go to the fulcrum. You can use more of your size to your advantage. But I like to go with that myself. Okay, so once again, I'm stepping back, hit, driving down, and bringing it around. Now, keep in mind that when we step back, we have a little bit more read time, but it also gives them more at their disposal as well. So just kind of keep that in mind when you're thinking about whether you step back, step forward. In reality, it might happen so fast that you don't realize what you're going to do. That's why it's kind of important to practice both. You know, really with any technique, like you look at 5 swords. Okay, I can step in on 5 swords, right? Well, I can also step back on 5 swords. So it's like, just like anything, figure it out. You know what I mean? And play with it. Okay, I'm trying to think if I have. Oh yeah, a couple of you guys already mentioned kind of like what I call the knee bump version of this, which is whether you step in or away, it doesn't matter. But you have where you can literally throw this thrusting knee, okay? Or if you're close enough, if you step in, you might be close enough to do a lifting knee to get that leg up and grab and take them down. So lots of ways to play with this. I'm sure a couple people will go over the extension. That's why I decided not to. So I think that's pretty much all I wanted to bring out today. So back to you, my friend.
Thank you very much, Mr. Miller. All right. Sorry, I came inside. It was getting hot out there, so I'm trying to adjust my camera here. Anyway, so now we're sending it from one part of Pennsylvania over to the other side of Pennsylvania to Downingtown, Pennsylvania, live from the Taj Mahal. It is Brian Sahl.
And my better half, not my
and the
better
lovely
half. That
Callie. Hey, Callie.
This is my youngest daughter, Callie. And Eagles, just saying, that's for you, Mohamad. All right, what are we doing? We're doing hooking. No, we're not doing hook and wings. We're doing dance of death. So most of this was covered already. So I'm just going to give you a few things that I think about when I do this technique. And one of them is, well, you guys already talked about it. It's the traditional right step through punch, but it works just fine for a cross. One of the things I want to do, come over here, Kelly, and put this hand out just like this. Perfect. Is this first punch. How many times have you seen people when they do the advancing inward block techniques, they go like this. The punch comes in, yeah, do the punch. They go, whoa, with the block. So the punch comes in and they go, whoa, and they shoot that, and it doesn't work. It doesn't work. So actually, Mr. Lawler hit upon it exactly. When you do this, when she shoots this punch, as Mr. Lawler said, it's accelerating the attack when you advance in. So you have 2 options. You can either get out of the way, right? You could do a slip, something like that, or you get the weapon moving first. Now, in this case, we're going to do the weapon moving first, but here's the trick. A lot of these, we learn when you block on the outside, you block above the elbow. When you block on the inside, you block below the elbow. I think this is what tricks people up when they end up going around this, because they're trying to get above the elbow with the block while dealing with the punch. So how do you deal with this? You remember that it's a thrusting inward block. It goes out on a 45, right? It goes out on a 45, and you need to meet it in order to beat it. We've heard that. So it's okay to block below the elbow on the outside. I know, don't kill me for saying that, as long as it rides up and ends up at the top of the elbow. So when this hits, it's okay to hit it here and allow it to slide, and then to hit this shot here. Sorry, I hit my daughter. She's like, she wasn't expecting that. All right. So when you do this advance with this inward block, think about, go ahead, shoot that punch. This, here, I'll get a little closer. She had shorter hands. Okay. This needs to come out on the diagonal. It can meet below as long as it ends up above. Okay. That will help you to get around the problem of trying to reach that elbow while you're advancing. Now, second thing is, and I know I'm doing this on the other side, so is, I got all sorts of audience. Put your other foot forward for me now and just hold this hand out. Is the problem of throwing, catching the leg into the groin, right? We talk about this, and then you see, how many times have you seen you go through and you throw them down and you end up with that groin in your leg? All right, I'm going to put this down a little bit because the feet are important here. All right, so when this punch comes in, all right, if your advancing foot ends up going beyond, you're in trouble. You're pretty good here, but really, you don't want to go beyond that. As soon as you go beyond that foot, you're going to be in the position when you step through of eating that groin shot. Now, a couple things you can do, okay? Number one, again, don't let this foot pass that leading foot. And when you do this leg pickup, exactly as Dan described. You're going from 6 o'clock to 10:30. And as you do that, I like to use my knee as a strike to strike their leg into my hand. Okay, so as I'm going forward, this can come in. Put your hand on my shoulder for balance. Okay, it's going to go this way. It's going to be a shot this way, and you can strike it right into your hand and pick it up. Okay, if you do those couple of things, you will avoid picking that leg up into your groin. Now, the last thing I'm going to mention on this technique before we have time, can I ask you to kind of lay down here? I know, stay away from the boot. Yeah, on your stomach, right there. And I'm going to go like, look. Now, put your hands here, just like that. I have her laying like that for a reason, because after we kick, when you do this part and you step up, this is the dance of death part. It's important that you work on the X and not the plus. All right, if you are on the plus, just like she's doing, if she could do a snow angel, go ahead, don't hit this, but do like a snow, no, just lay there. It creates a circle. It creates a circle with their hands. Put your feet forward, and here's your circle. All right. So you want to be in a zone of sanctuary in the corner, so that that hand can't grab your foot. So that when you do all of this stuff, right now you're going to this corner. You're not going to on the 3-9. So there's some really tiny adjustments you need to think about with this technique in order to make it work. The hitting above, below the elbow and riding above, that's true of any advancing punch technique. You can make that work. If someone has the wherewithal to do this and then immediately turn it into an elbow, turn around and run, man. That's a badass individual. All right, so you've got your block, you got your ridge hand, right? Now, some people will pick this up as a check. I don't do that, because this strike here should be your check. It should double them over so that you don't need to do this. Boom. And then you have your takedown into all of this. Now, when I do the takedown, okay, I like to get their leg. You turn them over almost in a crossing talon position. I'm holding the leg here, my knee. That way, if they turn to roll one way or the other, you can lock them up. That would mean that when you do this finger whip, it has to be to the outside of the leg. Okay, boom, here. All right. So there's these angles and these nuances are really important in understanding how to make this technique work. So I'm going to just leave it there. I have no idea how long I went, but I'm going to turn it back to you, Mr. Meck. And thanks everyone for coming out. Mr. Tabatabai, great to see you again. And great to see everyone. Right back to you, Dan.
Thank you very much, Brian Saul. Thank you to the lovely Callie and a little cameo from little Leo bouncing around in there as well. Excellent as always, my man. Excellent as always. All right. Up next, we're sending it to, there's no mystery here. I absolutely love these people, you know, and they are, you know, they've been tournament competitors for a long time and racking up a lot of wins, but they just came back with a whole bunch of hardware from Long Beach. A whole bunch of hardware from Long Beach is sitting inside of that beautiful studio inside of Dartmouth, Massachusetts. And my man, Mr. Dan Dongfro.
All right. Thanks, Dan. Coming back from Dartmouth, Massachusetts. Awesome to be on the round table once again. And the technique is dance of death. Now, you know, I'm going to say right off the bat, you know, this is not an instructional video. You know, I'm not teaching how to do the technique. I'm going to show you the way that we do it, you know, textbook version. And then I'm going to change it up a little bit and try to stay away from what everybody else was doing. You know, I know there was a lot of looking into the power and stuff like that. We're going to look more into the speed of things on this technique. So let me just start by the way we do dance. We'll all do it together. So again, when you're doing it in the air, there is no what ifs. So, you know, strictly by the book, stepping with the inward block. And then it's a forward bow chop to the groin. We're going to step through, grab the leg, and then the back knuckle and the chop. So strictly base technique. Now, again, like everybody else was saying, you know, you don't encounter these step through punches very often. So we do it against the right cross punch always. When you do it against the cross punch, you don't have to worry about that front leg, like Mr. Saul said, coming up and hitting you in the groin. So, you know, we'll have Miss Laura, she can demonstrate. So, yeah, back it up a little bit. So dance it down. And we'll get Mr. Sean Booth from this side. Right. There we go. All right, so now we're going to look at, again, like everybody else said, the biggest thing is if the right foot is forward. All right. Now, there was a lot. Mr. Booth, come on over here. So we'll go on this angle here. So he stepped through punches. And again, I do this too. I step through. Yeah, whoops. Step through towards like, what was that, 1030? All right, to get that leg outside instead of inside. But there's also a little cheat step in there that you could use, almost like a back to forward switch. I mean, you lose a little bit of the backup mass, but if I'm here, I just pull this back and then I can come through and I got my move. So dance of death. So now let's look at a few things. Did I miss anything? Huh? Yes. All right. So the timing on these things. The attack is one move. All right. So I'm coming in one, and then I'm hitting two, and then I'm coming through three. So it's like three moves before I really got to the point of what I wanted to do. What if we combined the first and second move? So Booth, come on over here. So he comes in with a punch, and I'm here, and then I'm coming through. All right, so again, from this angle, he punches, pow, right there, same time. Again, this is not the way we teach the technique. This is just stuff, again, for somebody that's done this technique, 4,000 or 5,000 times, all right, you might want to think of doing something a little bit different. And the other thing we could do is eliminate that altogether. If somebody was, say, coming in with a jab punch combo, let's see. So he comes in, and I'm going to slip, and then I'm just going to move right through. Again, I pretty much eliminated everything except for the takedown. So again, he's coming in, and I'm up, and I'm in. And there it is. So if you find yourself down below their weapons, there's your dance of death. Can apply it just about any time. So again, just a few things you can look at with dance of death. Did I miss anything? Oh, yes. Right. So we always like to throw a little relationship in there. So let's, you guys take a half a step back. So let's start with, let's go dance to death. So stepping up 1, 2, 3. And then if we reverse that, go. It looks like what? Go forward, go reverse. It's looking a little like brushing the storm. So why don't you go forward? All right, now ready, go. You go reverse shots. Forward and back and up and back. And with that, we will send it on back to you, Dan.
So I think I might want to coin a phrase, and that phrase is going to be Dartmouth quality, because, there's nothing but quality coming out of Dartmouth all the time, and that was right there with it. I love it. Good stuff, and it was great to see International's grand champion, Laura Ecker. Yay! Good job. Yay! All right, so let me tell you, if you like what you guys are seeing and you'd like to see a little more, you can always become a member of the Brotherhood. How do I become a member of the Brotherhood? Well, that's an excellent question. All you have to do is go to brotherhoodkempo.com, click on the Join Now button. All right, that'll send me a notification, and then my wife Chrissy will put together your membership card with your ID pack, or with your membership packet with your ID card laminated. But then you also get access to our KENPO Brotherhood members only page on Facebook, and this is where you guys get exclusive content. Right now, we are going live with the roundtable, but next month we'll go back to our normal format, which is half the presenters, and then the other half of the presenters. Half the presenters will go on YouTube, and then the other half of the presenters will present on the members only page. And the only way to do that is to be a member of the Brotherhood. So go to brotherhoodkempo.com, click on that Join Now button, and become a member of the Brotherhood. All right. Also, upcoming events. We have a big one coming up October 7th and 8th, and this is going to be in the lovely Dartmouth, Massachusetts. The lovely Dartmouth, Massachusetts. And this time we're going to have a special guest instructor, none other than our guest today as well. What a coincidence. Mr. Mohamad Tabatabai will be there. And also, this is going to be a very special one for me and Mr. Mark Lawler, because that will be the day where I will be elevated to the rank of 8th degree black belt, and Mark Lawler will be elevated to the rank of 9th degree black belt. So you guys know us. It's going to be a party. Come join us in Dartmouth, October 7th and 8th. And then 2 weeks after that, October 22nd, the pig roast at my house. What's that? We get together in my yard. I got a big yard, and we're swinging sticks and knives and guns and all sorts of fun stuff training. And after that, we're going to eat a pig. It's going to be delicious. We don't have our normal Pigman Dan here. Danny Hageman moved to Florida. So now we have Pigman Dan Meck. It's going to be a blast. All right, I think that's about all we have for there. So now we're going to send it up north, to the north. And who are we going to the north? We're going to the King of the North. If only I knew which one was his here on the on the Zoom. Steve Stewart, unmute your mic.
Winter's coming. Welcome, welcome. I'm at my clinic today since I'm a naturopath on the human side and a holistic vet on the animal side. I'm in between, but I didn't have anybody. But so what did this guy do? My big 6'6" friend came all the way running down the street. I said, come in. And I said, do you have a cup? He says he wears his cup all the time here in Canada. And he's vaccinated. So I have my lovely assistant, Lexus, holding the camera. So it's dance of them. But first, Mohamad, sir, Mohamad Tabatabai, sir. Us, good to see you. Hopefully you can see me. I have to shovel out the driveway after. Anyway, dance of death. So the blueprint way is for a left lead, right punch. So we'll do the textbook way first. And if the other hand was up here, that's when you want to go low line dance of death. But if his hand's dropping, then you want to go high line. I go high line to sleeper. Most of you already know that. But by allowing margin for error on the traditional blueprint way, if he came in and I moved here, if he had a cup on like this guy does, or he has balls of steel like a lot of people in the true north do, you can just go to an area just south of that. And it's right in the crease, in the inguinal crease where they two cross, and there's two insertion points there, and they cross. If I just take my knuckle, nothing up my sleeve, I have short sleeves. And if I just push on that knuckle, you see how it buckles them, then you can run. But you can allow, move it this way. So you can allow margin for error on that one there. Now, coming on the inside, when I slide in to get the elbow just to cause him some, disturb his balance, and I always like to buckle the leg or have my right in there in the leg. There's another one in here, stands up straight. If I hit this one up, in and up like this, he can resist. By using the elbow or even just my knuckle, just to push in and down, he'll buckle. So it's really that crossway point where cubicle fossa, where you bend the arm. So from a point of view there. So if you're going to get into confrontation using this one, ask them to bend their arm first. It gives you an idea whether it's worth it or not. So again, from here, shoots the right punch from here, hitting the low line there. I come in and I push. When I push it on that, I'm going to contour down. If I turn it around a bit, I contour down the leg there. And as I push forward, it's a cradling effect. This way to allow. Now, I always back knuckle to the inside of the thigh. A lot of people hit in the knee, but if you hit that point right there, very disturbing point, dropping into a wide deal here. Just so at the beginning of the extension, I want to be sure I'm vertical and horizontal. So I'm using two-way action in a small. And watch how quickly he'll rotate that way. Come on back. I'll show it again. And back. And now he'll do it on his own. And back. Okay. Other thing is, again, what you can do, if a lot of people, and he didn't really realize this, is that he's been teaching it for the punch and you have the lead leg. A lot of people make this mistake and they come in here and you'll probably seen this, they pick them up and now it's between their legs. So what you gotta do, you gotta slightly adjust. So from here, I move up the circle to create that drive so I can take them down to the ground. So you can use that to create that drive to get in there. But one thing you wanna remember is, when a lot of people come in here, you wanna make sure you're above the elbow. If I'm below the elbow, you can collapse that into me. So if, just stand with your right leg, lead leg. If you just suddenly shoot behind you, if he just shoots the punch out, then I'm like, boom. I can want to make sure that I'm keeping myself at bay here. Now, from this position here, if he came in with a left-right punch, 1, 2, now I want to make sure I move up. And if I can make sure I move up that circle without loss of motion to cripple him, take him down to the ground. One other thing I want to say on that, turn this way. Another area you can go to is just above the knee. It's a motor point that controls the patella and the lower extremity. If I come from this position here, I can just cradle this. If this wasn't working out, all of a sudden he grabbed me or whatever, grab a hold of me. He grabs the legs. I can push down on that one just above that patella there, push down that position there, and that'll drive me right to the ground. Okay, come on over this way. Just to show that again, put your right leg forward. Just at this above the patella where the knee bends is a motor point of control that will take him right to the ground. I learned that one from Professor Wally J many years ago in one of my sessions I had with him. For a more humane way, because from there, more humane way, if you wanted to, you can just have the insertion point in the middle, which releases the shoulder, take him down to the ground that way. Oh, I am the king. So you can do that as well. So anyway, that's my little tip. I gotta get back to work. I left the dog by himself. So I hope you have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you very much to the King of Canada. Excellent job as always, Mr. Stewart. All right, now we're going to send it out to our special guest. Everybody knows this guy. Why? Because it's Mohamad Tabatabai. If you're in Kempo, you know this man because of the quality that he always brings. Live from Los Angeles, Mr. Mohamad Tabatabai.
Hey, I'd like to say hello to everyone, and at the same time, Montaser, I apologize for having to do this because I got to start a class pretty soon. So, anyways, like to make it short and sweet. This dance of death. Couple of things on the first approach as far as the blocking. Come up, please. Most of the time, you know, there's a lot of times that I like to double up on my blocking. So if she's, yeah, switch it, no, back off a little bit, back off a bit, or we back up. So if it's the right punch that we're dealing with, okay, I like to double up 1, 2 on the block. Depending on the distance, I could either step forward with the left or drop back with the right leg. So when she throws, okay, if I'm doubling up on the block, now I could go to my strike, or it could be throwing the punch or whatever. Okay, you guys have seen it, and everybody's doing the different options, and it's amazing. It's great. Another thing is, if I'm doubling up and I'm going to shoot under to go to circles of protection, that's dealing with the punch. And on the takedown, when you do the takedown, because of the strike to the midsection, that if the person is leaning forward, so the step through has to be a very strong step through, and then we're shooting the elbow to the upper body to push the body weight back a little bit. So from here, okay, if she's leaning, so this move, when you're stepping forward, up a little bit, when you're stepping forward to push the body back so we could grab the leg and do the takedown. I wanted to go over a few things after we do the takedown, some of the options that we have. Get the camera going on the ground. Okay. So, I'll get a little bit, no, back off a bit, back off. Okay. Once you guys do the takedown, make sure you grabbing the leg nice and tight, and you stepping up with your right leg right into her. See that? Okay. Now, control the knee. First thing, you want to control the knee, because in order for her to pull the leg out, she wants to turn. She wants to turn the knee outward. So we got to make sure we control the knee, okay, and do a nice tight grip right here. Okay, it's kind of like you're doing your figure 4. Okay, get a little bit closer. Okay, good. Now, couple of options. If you're going with the ideal phase that we're going to turn over, okay, you need to be hugging this leg, grabbing, And when you turn, push into a nice forward bow, okay? Because, bring it up a little bit. When you turn them, you want their hip tilted up. You want the hip off the floor, okay? Go back. Okay, so when I turn over right here, get close, no, lower. See that? You got the hip lifted up once you turn. And then you go ahead and pass going into the heel stomp. Bring it up now, okay? The other thing is, that's when you turn them over. Another option is when you're hugging the leg, bring it a little lower. We're gonna go into leg lock. So we have the option to hit the ground, going into the leg lock. We got the right foot under, left over, and we're squeezing with the knee to control. So we could even go into a figure four, okay, and lock up. Okay. Another option, from here, they happen to pull the leg out, pass, and we could go on, turn, knee on the stomach, okay? So if we're gonna pass that leg, if they pull the leg out or we choose to pass the leg out, then you could go ahead and go into knee on the stomach, where, up a little bit. So from here, if she pulls out, check, and you come up, knee on the stomach, control the hip. You could pull the head back just to control them this way. So that was a few different options after you do the takedown. Either control right away, you want to control outside the knee, so you lock the leg that they won't be able to pull the leg out. The other option is, okay, you go ahead and do the ideal phase, turn them over, and once you turn them over, okay, and you go into your dance of death to finish the technique. The other one was if you hit the ground and go into a heel lock or a knee lock, controlling the leg, or if they happen to pull the leg out, we try and just pass it and go knee on the stomach, or start kicking them, or if you grab a chair, hit them on the head with it. So you got this different options going on. If there is any questions or comments, let me know so we could go over it. But it's a devastating technique. Any comments?
Anybody have any questions they want to fire out for Mr. Tabatabai before he goes?
I see a lot of energy out there. Did everybody get their coffee or cappuccino in the morning?
You know how it works. People have questions, but they're like, I'm not asking. I'm not
asking. Do you pick a light chair or a heavy chair or just whatever's available?
Anything you could pick up.
Okay.
Anything you could pick up.
I love it.
Yeah. You just make sure when you throw the chair, you got directional harmony. That's very important.
There you go.
And I also see that Dan Meck, he still doesn't have a roof over his head. What happened, huh?
I have a convertible living room right now. It's lovely because the weather is still nice.
Beautiful. We got a little bit of rain last night, and it's been just crazy down in Southern California. We've been past couple of weeks. It's been 100, 105, 110. So it's one last comment before I go is go Raiders tomorrow, and I'm rooting for the Eagles also.
I'm glad you ended it like that.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Tabatabai. Excellent as always. I will even say it. Go Raiders. Go Raiders. Right. I'll be watching the Raiders after the Eagles destroy the Detroit Lions. I hope you have a wonderful class, Mr. Tabatabai, and I look forward to seeing you in lovely Dartmouth, Massachusetts in a couple weeks.
Thank you.
All right, moving right along. Right. We are now going to send it down to, where are we going? Miami, Florida. Who's down in Miami, Florida? The man with a bucket full of energy, the Montaser energy drink, Mr. Monte Nuwar.
Thank you, brother. Thank you so much. I wish I am as much energy today as always. I just checked. I'm 170 over 110 blood pressure. I don't know what's going on in my system. Anyway, we're gonna do our best. The technique is dance of death. So in this situation, it's like it gives you opportunities. In every single fight, you find yourself with a bunch of different opportunities. In this situation, if he's pushing, shoving his elbow, his right arm is forward. So as you step into sanctuary zone, which is very important, okay? Make sure that you don't hyperextend your arms. You don't hyperextend your arms in a block. You don't hyperextend your arms in the strikes. So as you're stepping in, you make sure that your lining up is closed in and you're using your backup mass. It's very important, okay? So as you go in with a backup mass, and if you notice the way you strike in, it's gonna go in, and that's gonna give you something to grab, okay? Whether it's his groin, his thigh, whatever in. It's going down, so you grab and pull down. Anybody's gonna get hit in this position, they're gonna bend down. There's no doubt about it. So as you go in, as he bends him down, there's the elbow to raise him up. You want his body to go up, okay? So you're gonna go one, pull, raise him up, and then you're gonna do an upward block from there to release that hand. That arm is next to your face. Upward block, and as you step it forward, you can do a knee assist right into his thigh, or just go in. So as you step it in forward, okay, the left foot kind of slide back slightly. So it will allow his leg to slide up. His leg is gonna be positioned perfect right in here. And so let's go back to the beginning. So as you step it in, pull up, upward block, and take him down. He's on his back. There's the back fist. And there's the chop. His leg is entwined in here. If this hand has to stick back to check his leg from bouncing back up, you can still turn him around with the hyperextension by just going into a forward stance, okay? If he's not, you can always put the pressure on and twist him on his back, on his forward, on his stomach. So you bounce, chop, and land, okay? You do a palm on the back of his neck or a chop or whatever you want, okay? From there, what I do is I cross over and land with my knee. This knee lands right in the center of his back, and this palm right on his neck, okay? And as you step out, all right? So let's go from the beginning. So you step in, pull up, upper block, take him down, chop, spin, pull, and land. Now you cross over and land with the knee on the middle of his back. There's you're smothering his head into the ground and step out, and you do the side kick. All right? We'll do one more time. Maybe we'll do it this way. So as you step it in, pull up, and spin, chop. Bam! Cross over. There's the knee in the middle of his back, and step out and side kick. Thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity. God bless you guys.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nuwar. I like that little move there. That was like a reverse bow compulsion you did there with that dance of death. Very slick, very slick. All right, moving right along. This next gentleman, David, last time I saw you, we were having an awesome time at Chuck Sullivan's house with Angelo and Dan Donfro was just chatting it up the whole time. Angelo and Dan Donfro and Brian and Sibora and I, we had a lovely dinner at Chuck Sullivan's house with our next presenter. Live from Warwick, Rhode Island, my man, Mr. David Gigliotti.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you, everybody. I'm very honored to be here today. I got to admit, everybody said everything I was going to say. I don't have anything to say. This technique is a really cool technique, but what I will say is this. One of the things that, as a ex-judoka, I was a competitive judo player for many years. This is, to me, it's a leg pick technique, pure and simple. So I'm going to talk about that. It's a little bit, not as much about the technique itself. Okay, you guys have covered everything under the sun and then some. So I am going to, I'm actually going to talk about, as a taller guy, doing a leg pick on a shorter person, okay? Now, when we do this technique at my place, we do it from a right cross. And the reason for that is if they're leading with a right on a right, standard textbook stuff, that right on a right, if I'm going to that outside, if I'm already on that outside, I'm going to that zone of sanctuary. I am not going circling around, because either I'm going to go take a back position or go out and take them down with some sort of a throw, okay? So we do it with the right cross and the left lead. That opens up the center line, right? And I do it more like I'm slipping the punch. I'm actually going to slip that punch. I don't really do the inward block as hard. I come across with that, striking inside the groin, but I'm actually pushing that arm. I want that arm up and across. Now, again, like I said, with this being a leg pick, what I notice a lot of times when people do a leg pick, they bend over and they'll either hit that hip flexor or they'll do a low elbow. And the problem with that is, especially if you're a taller guy, you're not going to fold up. You've given away your height zone. You've given away many, many different options, and to open yourself up to counter grabs. All right. Let's face it, everybody and their brother today has some sort of grappling skills in their belt, in the tool belt. Okay. It's one of those things that when Mr. Parker had put this technique together, in which, by the way, you can see Mr. Parker's judo influence here, because this is nothing more than a simple leg pick. There wasn't as much of the ground fighting as there is today. So we'll come out in my place, we'll come out, slip that punch, come up underneath. Now, when I hook that leg and I'm coming in with my right, I actually do something very similar to what you're doing, Monte. I bring that elbow up, but I actually, as I'm coming through, I bring it up on this angle. So that way it's covering my neck. Okay, I don't make two motions. I just kind of come in, I'm going one and then up. And that pushes that elbow spear, pushes that torso back. Now, when we did this in competition, a lot of times we would do it from, say, a person coming in, charging in, would get the hands in, like to Dan Meck's point, I do a double leg pick, work beautifully, okay? So as I'm coming in and then up with this elbow hooking, I have to make sure that my back stays straight, all right? Make sure your posture is straight. What you want is that person to be doing this. So when we think about the technique and what's going on, if I strike someone in the groin, what's the next reaction? They go like this. They step back and they cover. It's a knee-jerk reaction. So coming in, that elbow's rising up, but I don't stay at the chest area. I go higher, maybe up into the upper sternum or chest plate, higher, up, and then through. Now, once I get through here, I secure that leg. And what I like to do is I actually like to do a figure eight on this. I make that clearing move, back knuckle, but then I do a raking foreknuckle on the inside of the knee. There is a nerve that goes down on the inside of this knee. Excuse me for this, it might be something, I think it's called the saphenous nerve. I think that's what it was called back in the day. I'm not sure. Some people say femoral. But right into here, you have 2 points, about 4 fingers below the inside of the kneecap here. If you press on that shin, that's one place that you can strike. Same thing on the upper part, where the knee is here, right up in here. You take your finger and you rub that, you'll feel it there too. So there's two places. So when I get the person down, I'm going through, hitting now with a raking foreknuckle, and then either a finger flick, or I might even drop my knee if I'm low enough, drop my knee. But so I'm going 1, 2, back knuckle, finger flick, or knee, depending on the situation. Okay. So my take on it, guys, was from again, a bigger guy trying to do it on a smaller guy. If they compress themselves, if I come in here and they compress themselves, it's going to be really hard for me to get up underneath. And I see this a lot, especially with this technique in leg picks in general, is they get low, they get tight like this, and then they try and force it. And it doesn't work out too well. So again, I thank everybody for their time. I'm very, very honored to be here. I'm losing my voice. I've been teaching all day. And I'm going to turn it back over to you, Dan. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a great day.
Mr. Gigliotti, the honor is all ours, buddy. I almost said the honor is yours. Imagine that. That sounds like something I would say, but in reality, David, the honor is ours. It's great having you, buddy. It's great. I love seeing what you do every month. All right, we are now coming down the home stretch. We have 2 presenters left. I sound like a horse racing guy. And cut up next from the undisclosed location somewhere in Los Angeles, no doubt with AJ. Everybody knows and loves him. It's Angelo.
What's happening, everybody? This is an undisclosed location. I'm at work today in my classroom, and I just finished a big event, and I do not have an AJ. He's working, but I have a substitute AJ just in case, okay? Anyway, what I want to talk about today is Dance to Death. This is and I like the way David Gigliotti went ahead and started off about a big guy doing it on a little guy. Okay, that's normal. Okay, but let's take the reverse of that. This technique has so many things involved with it, and there's so many timing and power and fulcrums and stuff that you want to work about. But let's look at, I just want to take one aspect of this whole thing, and that's the ability to pull this off. Somebody my stature, some of the women that are smaller, lighter, some of the guys that are shorter than I am, Sibora, Norm, I can go on. There's like 4 people that I know that are shorter than me. So anyway, what I want to talk about is basically a lot of this has to do with a compliant partner, okay? If you've ever tried to do this technique on somebody who doesn't know what's coming, a lot of people get stuck. They'll come in and they'll do the groin shot and they get stuck right here. If you're in a technique line and somebody is doing the technique, what do you do for them? You fall for them because you don't want to get hurt and you want to comply with the person. And that's a problem, because if you try to do this technique on somebody who's big, who's strong, and who's stubborn, it's very difficult to do, super hard to do. So the aspect that I want to talk about is how you push and pull, okay? So I've got a couple props here since I don't have an AJ. Think of this as a tree, okay? I can make this tree fall several different ways. I can take it from the bottom here and push the top and watch it fall, right? Or I can hold it here, I could pull the bottom out and watch it fall. Both of those are extremely hard because the tree has an inertia. It has an amount that has to be moved. You have to surpass that inertia in order to knock something down. If I weigh 120 pounds and this weighs 240, nothing's going to happen, okay? Same thing with the leg. I can't pull a leg out. So what you want to do, there's a third way that works, is you want to take the bottom out at the same time that you take the top out. So your rotational point is going to become the waist of the attacker, okay? So basically we're going to take the leg out and he's going to fall, but we also are going to hit at the same time. So there's 2 directions going at the same time, which will chop this person in half and drop them. Okay, I have successfully done this technique on many tall people, but there's a little catch to it. Some of you know my California jump switch, right? Pow, pow, boom, pop. And that came about because I'm a small person, so I got to utilize my entire body weight. So when I do this technique, I will do the block here. I'll come in for the groin shot. Now, originally I learned it with the foot in the middle. So I learned how to do this little twist stance to go around the foot and grab the leg and throw, okay? A lot of times I say it when the attacker comes in with the foot that's opposite, you're just gonna plow forward, okay? So I perfected my movement with this step because I had to, that was the way I learned the technique. And as it evolved, everything started to change. But watch what's happening here. If I'm pushing here and I'm shooting this groin. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm not going to reach down and grab. I'm going to use this as an actual shot. It's kind of, I don't know what you would call this, but it's a reverse upside down chop, and I'll hit them right about there on the thigh. What I want to do is I want to get their center of gravity off balance. So I'm going to go 1, 2. When I'm going to do this now, empty-handed, I don't have a lot of mass behind it. However, if I take my step and marriage with that strike, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. There's my strike. And now I'm loaded up completely for a nice elbow, but I'm using the entire rotation and my body and marriage of gravity to do that. So I got 1, 2. There's my shot. There's my throw. Okay. And notice the angle that I'm doing. I'm not doing this because I need to knock the guy down. When I go 1, 2 to here, and I hit that motion, I have already started that momentum of his body falling. So at the same time, I'm going right down through it, and he's going to topple down. And the good part about doing it this way is that the person, this is my uke, okay? So if I get this, as I do this, the person actually stays in place because as I strike, his foot comes over, and as I drop, he goes down, so he falls pretty much in the same place that he needs to be. If the guy's really big and he keeps his foot, you're going to end up going forward. I don't have a lot of backup mass, so I can't rely on that. So what I want to do is use as much of my timing as possible. So we're going to go hit here. You're going to strike, hit. And when you drive that down, you're going to wide kneel, back is straight. Don't bend over. You want that back straight into this position. Then you can continue with the rest of the technique, okay? I had the horrible experience of attacking those of you that know Mr. William Glenn. Whoop. Scariest man on earth when it comes to Kenpo sometimes. And he did this technique on me. So he did this. He flipped me. He threw me down. Then when he flipped me up, he got me. He hooked my leg. And he stood up. He's what, 6'4", 6'5", but he pulled me up this way in a leg knee bar. And I was literally dangling from his arm, hanging, screaming, because my knee was about to blow out. Scary, scary position to be in. So you don't want to be in these positions. If you're tall, you can manipulate little people very easily. But when you're short, you've got to learn how to bring down that giant down to your size. And this is one of the ways that I found to do it. Take them both out at the same time. Work his leg, work his upper body, and fold him and drop him. Cool. Well, I've gone over my time a little bit. I got my California clock here timer, one of my props from one of my shows. And so I take it back to you guys. AJ will join us next week. He's out doing some stuff. And back to you, Dan Meck.
Hey, Angelo, the new digs look great, pal. The new digs look great. This is the new undisclosed location. New job. Congratulations, my friend.
Oh, wait. Should I do the?
All right, my man. Well, thank you very much. And last but not least, we're going to send it down to Hampstead, Maryland, to my partner in crime. You may recognize him as this guy on the patch, Mr. Sibora Chan.
I got Jason here helping me out today. All right, Dance of Death, great technique. I love the technique. Lots of memory about it, but let's talk about it real quick, okay? So this is for the right punch coming in. So as the punch comes in, okay, we're gonna do, I like to do a inward parry rather than a block, okay? Like Angelo was saying, because of our height. Angelo, by the way, you're only taller because you wear high heels every time you're near me. And you know what? Thinking about California, man, I miss those food trucks. That was the best. All right. So anyway, I don't want to stop him from coming in. So we're gonna utilize an inward parry instead. So as he comes in, we start at the wrist and work my way in there, okay? Now we're gonna turn Mr. Jason this way so you guys can see. From here, we're gonna shoot a ridge hand, okay? Boom, right to the groin. All right, I'm hitting him on the inside the thigh so that I don't hurt him, and I think he appreciates that, okay? So we hit to the groin. Now, if you guys ever been hit in the groin before, I have, whether it hurt immediately or not, your reaction is to drop, okay? And if you hit this guy hard enough, like if you were doing thundering hammer or whatever, he should move back a little bit, okay? Unless he's got brass, okay? So from here, watch it again. We go neutral bow, inward parry, let your hand ride from the wrist to the tricep area, okay? So riding it up. From here, forward bow, as you shoot that ridge hand, that causes him to move back a little bit. From here is that they step straight through, and in practice, your opponent is not moving. So when you step straight through right here, you end up picking him up, and the foot end up between your leg. No good. If you ever been kicked in the groin, that ruined your whole attempt to try to defend yourself, okay? So as he punches, we ride the punch, forward bow hit. He moves back a little bit. Now, this is where position recognition is important. If I hit him in the groin, okay, I'm lucky enough to hit him in the groin, he's probably gonna move back. Both of his hands probably gonna go to where the pain is, okay? That leaves his face wide open. Another thing is realize where you're at right here. Is your foot on the outside of his foot or on the inside? And that's depending on how you hit him to cause him to move a certain way. How he moved based on your action or his reaction based on your action is gonna determine how you're gonna follow up to the next move, okay? So if I find myself here, I'm on the outside of his leg, I might have to do that twist stance that Angelo was talking about. So this way, as I step in to do that elbow, okay, and when I do the elbow, I don't do a straight inward elbow. I kind of do a diagonal. Okay, this helps him fall backward a little bit easier. As I grab the leg, this hits here, boom, down he goes. All right. So I'm gonna turn you this way so you can see. Actually, how about you put your head that way? There you go. All right. So as we step in and take him down, right? Again, Disneyland version, we got lucky, we took the guy down. Important thing here is to secure this leg. So just once you grab, don't let go. Hold on to it and use it, okay? Now let's put your head that way. Okay, I think they can see better in this position. Okay, so as I took him down, right? Immediately, I hug on that leg as tight as I can. I'm going to use my right knee to pin his right knee. Locking him up just like in low kimono. We lock up the arm. This time we lock up the leg. Okay, now from here, if he tried to move, I just snap that ankle, or that knee rather, and done. But what I'm doing here is to prevent him from turning that way. Okay, so right now I'm giving him one option to turn. If you take me down to the ground, you can bet that I'm going to try to fight back. Okay, so some of the things that Jason can do right now is bend his knee, take himself out, and kick me with it. Or he could kick me with that leg, roundhouse kick, for example. Okay, or if he tried to roll that way to get up, he would break his own leg against my knee. Okay, or he can roll the opposite direction, in which case that leg is coming up, which is great. This is how the technique's supposed to work. If he can't turn that way, he's going to try to turn the other way. So when he turned, that knee's coming up. So I'm going to whack the inside of his knee with my back knuckle, hand comes up, and chop right to the groin. Okay, so when you chop outside the leg, don't chop inside the leg. If you do inside the leg, that would suggest you're standing this way, which what Mr. Mohamad was doing, not to contradict that, but at the same time, I really got to get up in here tight before, so that he can't take his leg out and kick me. Okay, my leg is short, so I can't do that really well. If I try to go here, he can still kick me. So you move in here, give him only one option to turn, which is that way. As we turn, we go right here. All right, put your head that way this time. Now we're really working the clock now. We're covering every angle. All right, so once you have him here, 1, 2, for whatever reason, none of the strike works, you can go to your major move, which is the snapping of his knee right here. All you gotta do is pull up and point your knee downward, boom. Another thing that you can do is figure 4 or heel hook him right here, and then just snap the ankle right out and knee break, follow. Snap, and be done with it. If you can't run, can't stand up, you can't fight, okay? Those are one of the 3 things that you need to take away from an opponent. Come on up. If they can't breathe, they can't fight. If they can't see, they can't fight. They can't move, they can't fight. So that's my dance of death. Really quick. Oh, when I was littler, believe it or not, in California or in the West Coast, when you do point fighting, so back in my point fighting day, growing shot is legal. And I score that way all the time. And to back up to somebody, I think Dan Dunfro said that when the punch comes in, don't block it, just slip and hit. During my point sparring day, that's exactly what we do. Let the punch comes in, just slip and whack him right in the cookie. Break the cup, you're done, go home. Anyway, that's my time. Jason, thank you. Everyone else, thank you for tuning in. Back to you, Dan Meck.
Thank you very much, Sibora. Excellent as always. All right, well, that brings us to the end of today's roundtable. We do have one last segment to do, and that's called Pass the Mic. This is where every presenter is going to have about 30 seconds just to share their wrap-up thoughts, and I'm going to go first. And here's my thoughts as I'm sitting here with my good friends. I got my buddy Ken, I got my buddy Jay, and I got my buddy Jeremy. Jeremy over there, the very first promotion that I ever did that wasn't under the provision of someone else, that was Jeremy when I promoted him to orange belt. Kenny wears my first black belt that I ever wore. He's my original black belt. And Jay, he's just a swell fella, and he's the owner of this house. But the point is that I'm sitting here giving these guys a history on everybody here. I'm like, oh, that's Sibora, this is what he does. That's Monte, that's what he does. That's David, that's what I'm giving them a history on everybody does, and it's making me realize just the awesome thing we have. We have such a great thing here with the Brotherhood, and we just keep on rolling, baby. We just keep on rolling. So thank you very much, everybody, for coming out. And now I'm going to send it over to the scribe, my man, Mr. Michael Miller.
Hey, everybody. Good job today. Awesome as always. Keep rocking, keep doing what you do, and we appreciate everybody that joined live today, and I hope you got something from it. Rock on.
Thank you very much, Mr. Miller. All right, we're going to send it over to Brian Saul.
All right, what's up, everyone? Good to see everyone today, and I got to say, Jay, Kenny, Jeremy. Well, Jeremy, I haven't seen you in a long time, so it's good to see you, my friend. Kenny, as always, good to see you, Jay, everybody. So it was good to see everyone. Great material. Had a blast. Thanks to Mr. Tabatabai. I know he couldn't join us for the end of this, but it was great having him. And hey, look, man, if you're not a member, come out and join us, man. It is so cheap. What is it? It's like $5 a month, $50 a year. I mean, you get a ton of material, and we must have 500 videos in our library here between all of us. So check it out. If you're not a member, come join us, and we will see you next month.
Thank you very much, Mr. Saul. Now we're going to send it up to the land of champions in Dartmouth. All
right, thanks, Dan. It was a great roundtable. We got all kinds of dance to death stuff to work on around here now. Look forward to seeing everybody here, World Class Karate, in October 7th and 8th. It's going to be a great time. It was awesome to see Master Mohamad Tabatabai. And I look forward to seeing everybody here in October.
Thank you very much, Mr. Donfro. And now we're going to send it over to the King of Canada. Again, thank you very much, Front row, we're going to send it over to the King of Canada, Mr. Steve Stewart.
Everybody, greetings. Great to see everybody again live. I miss you all. As far as coming up October 7th and 8th, that's my birthday weekend. So I don't want to steal the show. Oh, but I wanted to say to Mr. Dan and Mr. Mark Lawler, who I've known for close to 30 years, I'm so proud of both of you and duly overdue and deserved. And I know Mr. Trail for sure would be extremely proud. I'll try and catch up with you guys that weekend, but I'm going to be able to cross the border again. I went down quickly to see my son in Chicago, but it was there and straight back. Got a little bit of grief, but I think it's going to get better now. So I just want to let you know, so proud and honored to be a part of this brotherhood. Mr. Mohamad Tabatabai again, sir. Pleasure to see you. Awesome as always. Extremely awesome. And to everybody out there, love you all. Take care.
Thank you very much, Mr. Stewart. You are the best. Sending it down to Miami to Monte.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Happy birthday, King of Canada. Celebrate. Have a beautiful birthday. Thank you. I appreciate everything. I appreciate everybody. And remember, you guys, it's hundreds of years of knowledge being shared. You know, it's an opportunity. It's very seldom presented for a little amount of money. So I encourage everybody to join us and participate with us. And God bless. Take care.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nuwar. I don't know what you did with your hair, but you're looking smooth as always, pal. Now we're going to send it up to David Gigliotti.
Thank you very much. Yes, you're looking slick, Monte. You really are. Quick story. I asked my wife what we were going to do for our 34th, I think, anniversary coming up on October 7th. And she said, we're going to see Mr. Dan and Mr. Sibora and the whole gang. We're going to be in Dartmouth. So I'm going to be spending my anniversary with you guys in Dartmouth and just going to it. So I can't wait to see everybody again. Thank you so much. I'm really honored to be a part of this. And yeah, the knowledge is just incredible. I have a pile of notes that I got to go over. So thanks, guys, and we'll see you all next month.
Dave, I'm glad you got your priorities straight.
Talking about when it comes to how awesome our crew is. David, please send the lovely Mrs. Gigliotti my best. All the best, Barbara. All right, Angelo, turn on your camera.
Hey guys, it was a wonderful time as always. Want to thank Mr. Grandmaster Mohamad Tabatabai. I love your stuff as always. One thing that I did observe, which is really cool, is that how creative and resourceful we are when we're doing the live Zooms. We're beating up our little kids. We're beating up little girls. We're beating up our neighbors. We're using camera stands. We wear shorts, and it's just really fun that we can still produce high quality Kenpo with whatever we have around us. And I love you guys for that. And looking forward to seeing you guys at Danthos in October, man. So hang in there. I apologize for not being around so much this year. Just life-changing things are happening to me right now, and I'm just going through some readjustments, and I'll be back on the path here real soon. All right, guys. Hasta.
Angelo, all I can say is that everything you're doing is very exciting. And as a matter of fact, if you could do me a favor and call Chrissy and let her know how it's going, because she keeps asking me, what happened here? What's up with the new job? So we wish you nothing but the best, brother. All right.
Everywhere I go, I saw
to Mr. Sibora Chan.
Hey guys, once again, thank you for tuning in with us today. That was a lot of fun. We haven't done a live one in a long while. David, yeah, say thank you to Barbara. That's awesome. Glad to hear. And Angelo, congratulations again on that new job. Anyway, thank you for tuning in today. Join us on thebrotherhood.com or brotherhoodkenpo.com. Become a member, and I'll see all of you in Dartmouth next month. I can't wait. That should be a huge event, should be a lot of fun. And I heard they have the best Portuguese steak, right? So I can't wait for that as well. But anyway, thank you. Have a great weekend, guys. Salute. I'm out.
All right. Well, that's the end of our show. Thank you very much, everybody, for coming. Next month, we'll be thrusting salute back on the YouTube. We are done. Peace.